All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this time we will call our November 9th, 2021 public meeting to order. If I could have everyone please stand to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Jamie, if you could please read the Sunshine Statement.
Be advised that proper notice has been given by the Township Council in accordance with the Sunshine Law in the following manner. Notice advertised in the Burlington County Times and Camden Courier Post on January 7th, 2021, and posted on the bulletin board on the same date. Mr. Smith? Mr. Jenny?
Here.
Ms. Pareo?
Here.
Mr. Lyon?
Here.
Mr. Burrell?
Here. At this time, we will now have the oath of office for Police Chief James Mitchell. So I'll invite council and the mayor to the front, and the mayor will proceed with our oath of office.
Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening. It's okay. You can. It's not the public portion, but you're certainly welcome to respond. We apologize for the heat. It's a very old heating system in here. But at this time, just waiting for our police photographer. At this time, this is a special night here in Delran. As you are all aware, we just had our former chief retire after 30-plus years of service, and I'm happy to report that he is here with us tonight. Chief Parente, we welcome you back. Is Art here? Art here? Did Art make it back here too tonight? Yes. There, ladies and gentlemen, Art Saul is here, former chief. That is wonderful as we support one another. So, you know, swearing in a chief of police is something that's a rare and special honor for any mayor, and certainly we don't all have the opportunity to do that. So I just want you to know how honored I am to do that, especially for this man. Jim has spent over 20 years of admirable service to our community, to his fellow officers, and at this time, he is rounding off his first 20 years of service with, you know, having been a patrolman, detective, sergeant, lieutenant, and now the chief spot. So I know that Jim will be serving the way he's always served, with service to both his fellow officers and to the residents here in Delran. He, as always, will leave that situation, whichever it might be, just a little better than when he arrived. So at this time, it's my pleasure to invite up with his family, if that's the way we're going to do that, to start him in his career as the best chief that he can be. I invite, with great pleasure, a gentleman that I've known for some time, and I can call my friend James Mitchell. Chief, you ready, buddy? You get to hold it. Put this a little bit out of the way. You ready? Yes. Yes. Come on up. You can come right on in there. You can look over his shoulder. Like he's, there you go. All right, here we go. Your outdoor voice, we have to overcome the fans. Here we go. I, James D. Mitchell.
I, James D. Mitchell.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution.
That I will support the Constitution.
Of the United States.
Of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
And the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
And to the governments established.
And to the governments established.
In the United States.
The United States.
And in this state.
And in this state.
Under the authority of the people.
Under the authority of the people.
And that I will faithfully.
And that I will faithfully.
Impartially.
Impartially.
And justly perform.
And justly perform.
All of the duties.
All of the duties.
Of chief for the Delran Township Police Department.
of Chief of the Delran Police Department,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Stay safe. Stay safe. We have pictures. Is this going to be a video? Oh. For those of you who don't feel warm enough, if if you're welcome to stay. If not, I know that you're having a bit of a reception. We'll take a few minutes if you're leaving at this time. Chief, do you want to say a few words? You d- I'm surprised. Very good. Once again, our congratulations to Chief Mitchell.
As council makes their way back to their seats, I just also want to say on behalf of council, we congratulate the chief. At this time, I will ask for a motion for a 5-minute recess, just so we can allow folks who are heading out to get out.
So moved. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? We are in a motion carries. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll come back from our recess. If I can find my pen. Just a quick statement before we get to our action items. Actually, Lynn brought this up as an idea just to clarify some of what's going on. So please note that there may be limited discussion about the items on the agenda, the ordinances, the resolutions, and the motions voted on today because they're either routine or discussed at a prior work session meeting. At those prior work session meetings, the council debates and diligently analyzes every detail of every action, all in conjunction with our professionals and staff. So don't be alarmed today if there's not much discussion about the items. So today at this portion, we're taking the formal action associated with that. And also before we start, I'd also like to thank the school board who provided us with their conference system today. Our conference system is on a truck, probably FedEx to where is it, Arkansas, Kansas? Somewhere far away to get fixed. Just it's the nature of the beast, but I thank Dr. Broschel for donating his portable system that the school board uses. So now, with that, we'll get started with our ordinances on second reading. These all require a public hearing. So first up is Ordinance 2021-18, an ordinance to amend Chapter 43, Code of the Township of Delran, entitled Award of Contract or Purchase. Can I get a motion to open the floor to public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. The floor is now open to public comment on Ordinance 2021-18. If you want to speak on this ordinance, please raise your hand. And seeing no hands, I'll ask for a motion to close the floor.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. The floor is now closed. I'll now entertain a motion to adopt Ordinance 2021-18.
So moved.
Second.
Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it. The ordinance is adopted. Next up, we have Ordinance 2021-19, an ordinance to establish various salaries for various employees of the Township of Delran, County of Burlington, State of New Jersey, regulating the matter of the same. Just like we did before, I need a public hearing, so can I get a motion in a second?
I'll make a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Our floor is now open for public comment on Ordinance 2021-18. Please raise your hand. 19. Thank you, Tom. Seeing no hands, I'll ask for a motion to close the floor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Floor is now closed. I'll now entertain a motion to adopt Ordinance 2021-19.
So moved. Second.
Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it. The ordinance is adopted. Next up, one last time through, we have Ordinance 2021-20, an ordinance repealing Chapter 27 titled Noise, Code of Township of Delran, and replacing with new Chapter 217 titled Noise. This is a standard repeal and replace. So I'll ask for a motion for a public hearing.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. The floor is now open to public comment on Ordinance 2021-20. Seeing no hands, I'll ask for a motion to close the floor.
Motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. And now I'll entertain a motion to adopt Ordinance 2021-20.
So moved.
I'll second.
And Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. And the ayes have it. The motion carries. The ordinance is adopted. Now, on to ordinances on first reading. This is Ordinance 2021, an ordinance 2021-21, an ordinance to establish salary range for employees of the Township of Delran, County of Burlington, State of New Jersey, and regulating the manner of payment of same. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it. The ordinance, first reading, and then we'll have our second reading at the next public meeting. And next up, we have ordinance 2021-22, an ordinance of the Township of Delran, Burlington County, the state of New Jersey, amendment to the Township Code and creating Chapter 90 entitled Trees. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
And a second would be
I'll
great.
second.
Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it. Motion carries. The ordinance will be up for second reading at the next meeting. Next, we have our resolutions. This is Resolution 2021-179, authorizing the 2021 budget transfers. Can I get a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo? Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it. The resolution carries. Next up, we have Resolution 2021-180, authorizing the cancellation of certain balances on the general capital fund balance. Can I get a motion and a second?
Motion. I'll second.
Jamie, could you call the roll?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it. The resolution carries. Next up, we have Resolution 2021-181, requesting approval of items of revenue and appropriation in accordance with NJSA 40A 4-87 2021 Safe and Secure Communities Grant Program. Can I get a motion and a second?
Motion.
And a second would be great.
I'll second.
Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Next up, we have Resolution 2021-182, authorizing the acceptance of the SFY 21 body-worn camera grant for the New Jersey Department of Law and Public Safety, Office of the Attorney General, Award Number 21-BWC 116.
I make a motion. Second.
Somebody claim. Go ahead, Tom.
Second.
Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it. Resolution carries. Next up, we have Resolution 2021-183, authorizing the purchase of a 2022 Ford F-350 extended cab, four-wheel drive pickup truck, and equipment under state contract T2101.
So moved.
Second.
Jamie, could you call the roll?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it. The resolution passes. Now on to our motion. I'll ask for a motion authorizing the payment of bills, including all purchases made under the Cooperative Purchasing Agreement.
Motion.
And a second, please.
I'll second.
Jamie, could you call the roll?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. Motion carries. Motion accepting the report of the tax collector and township clerk. Get a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it. The motion carries. And a motion granting mercantile license to the businesses listed therein in the agenda. Can I get a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. Motion. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. And I think it may be our last. Next is a motion appointing the following members to the Recreation Advisory Committee. That's Candy Cure for a term to expire December 31st, 2023, and Chris Pullian for a term to expire December 31st, 2022. Can I get a motion and a second?
I'll make a motion. Second.
Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Congratulations, Candy and Chris. Finally, we have our reports for this evening, and in normal fashion, we ask representatives from the emergency services departments and agencies here in town to join us. So I see a few back there. So do you guys have anything for this? EMS Chief? Chief, come on up.
Good evening, Mr. President and the board and the mayor. My apologies for not making last month's meeting. I had a council meeting to attend to for our County Chiefs Association. So within that time, we're up to 565 calls for service for the department. On 10/16, the department responded to an MVC, motor vehicle collision on Route 130, just above the Bridgeboro Bridge. First arriving crews found a car overturned on its side with victims still trapped. Crews rescued those victims out of their cars with non-life-threatening injuries. On the 19th, we responded out to 98 Suburban Boulevard for an alarm system that was upgraded to a building fire. Luckily, there was no fire. It was just an unknown smoke condition, which was quickly narrowed down to a cooking incident. 231, the Bridgeboro Road Station, responded to Willingboro for a dwelling fire on 10/21. On the 23rd, the department ran a motorcycle accident on Route 130. Luckily, the gentleman was able to walk off the road under his own power. Our crews helped the ambulance squad package the patient and transport him to the awaiting ambulance that was on location. On the 23rd, the Chester Avenue station went into Burlington Township for a cover assignment, but was then pulled into the scene for a working job. And then later in that evening, we responded with our rescue to Beverly Rancocas Road in Willingboro Township for a motor vehicle accident. It was a very large-scale motor vehicle accident. They requested a second rescue for manpower, traffic, pedestrian control, and also help with patient treating. On 10/30, the round of storms came through. We spent about 4 to 5 hours on Stewart Avenue, pumping out backyards and basements. Luckily, the ground wasn't saturated already, and a lot of the backyard water was able to permeate into the ground. So we didn't have to spend 8 hours again like we did last storm that came through. The residents along that stretch of road, as always, very accommodating to us, offering us coffee, water, soda, food. So our thanks goes out to them. And thank you to the council members that did come out to support us and support the residents on that street during that time. During the month of October, the department did extrication training at Station 232 on Chester Avenue. This entails with new equipment that we've purchased over the past year, stabilization equipment, rescue equipment. This way we can train on it, have our newer members train on it, our junior members can train on this type of stuff. They're very viable during these types of incidents, and the equipment that we have is very up to date and up to speed with technology, stronger metals in the vehicles, and so on and so forth. This month and next month we'll be starting on water and ice rescue training, and on the 2nd of this month we were able to go to the old Golden Corral on 130 before it was demolished. Luckily, the construction official came down and mentioned to us that it was going to be torn down the next day, and that the GC that was doing the demolition said that we can have free reign of the building. In about a 5-hour notice, we did have about 20 members show up. We went out to the Golden Corral structure. We were able to do roof simulations. We were able to cut the roof. We were able to do a lot of interior stuff, interior search drills, interior firefighter survival tactics, and stuff that we couldn't do within the county walls, at the county fire grounds, or within our own walls. So it's nice to get out to those types of structures. So if council doesn't have any more questions for me, then that's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. See anybody else? Nobody else from emergency services, right? We're all good? Next up, we have a report from our clerk, Jamie Eggers. Jamie, any report tonight?
Just one item tonight, just to let everyone know that the 11/24 blood drive that was scheduled from 1:30 to 6:30 here at the municipal building has been canceled. The Red Cross is canceling many drives due to staffing shortages, so hopefully we're going to pick up back in 2022. I think our first one is scheduled for February. That's all I have.
Thank you, Jamie. Next up, Jeff is not with us tonight. Next up, we have a report from the mayor, Mayor Katzenbach.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Just a couple of, quite a few things, but first I'd like to thank the EMS folks that came out on a moment's notice to bring the extra fans that we have in here tonight. Apologize for the heat. I know it's hot, and we are all experiencing that same heat. I'd also like to mention fire department and thank them for their assistance in helping the residents in Riverside Park. And I'd also like to make you aware there was a 911 call that came in over the weekend regarding an attempted home invasion. And I'd like to commend our police department for responding to the call in less than 4 minutes. It's my understanding that the alleged perpetrators were apprehended on the scene and that the residents are safe and all is well. In case you missed that, the police responded and were there in less than 4 minutes. We thank them for that. I'd also like to congratulate Delran's Golden Regiment Marching Band on once again bringing home the U.S. Band's national championship win this year. We'll be honoring them by proclamation during the December public meeting, and we'll update the sign to reflect this year's win. Now, if you weren't able to see them perform this year, they'll be in attendance along with the Bel Canto Chamber Choir for the grand opening of the 7-Eleven on Bridgeboro Road next month, December 3rd. And the 7-Eleven, it's my understanding they'll be making a donation to the Delran Parents Music Association during that event. Those donations, along with other fundraising, allow them for the purchase of uniforms, instruments, visuals, educational materials, educational trips, and the like, as well, and other needed items to help these kids be the best they can be each year as they hone their skills. I'd encourage everyone to come out and extend their congratulations to the marching band and show them how Delran proud we are of their hard work. Also, I'm happy to report that Delran has been selected to receive $175,000 from the New Jersey Department of Transportation's fiscal year 2022 municipal aid program from the Haynesville Road Haynesville Road Improvement Project. That one, this particular grant is also supported in part by the New Jersey State Gas Tax. This is a very competitive grant program from the NJDOT, and I'm very pleased that we were one of the few selected from the 625 applicants. Also, this is the first public meeting since October 14th, and I would like to once again thank everyone who helped with the planning and execution of the Carly Lloyd event, and to say that it gained extremely positive attention locally and nationally. Just like our children that were there on the 14th, generations of children will continue to be inspired by our own small town hero. Additionally, I want to state right here and right now, there was absolutely nothing illegal or unethical that happened during the planning or execution of this event by anyone who was involved in that planning or execution. The most priceless thing was the look on the faces of the children during that incredible evening. The event was a magical night that inspired both adults and children to be better versions of themselves and to work hard to be great at whatever they choose to be. The feeling of connection as a town and a family for all who attended will stay with us, certainly, and events like this that are special, and this one was once in a lifetime. And nothing will take away the emotion of that night from our Delran family or our children. And finally, I'd like to offer my condolences to the family of Private First Class Thomas Wilson, who was a Delran resident and a Vietnam veteran. Following his discharge, Mr. Wilson fought another battle over the course of his life due to the injuries he sustained in the service to his country as a paratrooper and a medic. We grieve that loss along with his family, and Delran Township will be honoring him formally at our Veterans Day Memorial Service this Thursday right here outside at the Municipal Building at 10 a.m. And that's my report.
Thank you, Mayor. Next up, we have a report from our solicitor, Sal Siciliano. Sal. Thank you, Counselor. And next up, we have reports from members of council. Starting my far right, we'll start with Councilman Marlo Smith. Councilman.
Thank you. Just like to say three quick things. Again, like to congratulate Jim Mitchell on his promotion to police chief. I've known Jim for years, and great guy, tremendous integrity. Is going to lead the department with honor, and look forward to his many years of service as police chief. Secondly, I'd like to thank the EMS and the fire department and Delran Police Department. You know, everyone came out, the room was packed, so it was just a fantastic showing. And thanks, you know, to the chief. You mentioned all the different events that were responded to throughout the month. Thanks again, as always. And lastly, daylight savings time. You know that the days are getting shorter. It's tougher to see some of the teens on the road if they're walking or biking or skateboarding or whatever. So just be mindful as you're driving to look out for young people as they're out and about. End of report.
Thank you, Councilman. And next up, we have a report. Excuse me. Next up, we have a report from Councilman Lynn Jennings.
Thank you, Council President. Just also like to reiterate congratulations to Chief Mitchell. I believe he's going to be a great leader for our department. Also, I'd like to thank the fire department and all those who came out for the flood. I was down there observing their activities. They were pumping out backyards and pumping out basements, providing pumps and assistance to the residents. I believe the residents appreciated it. We took a proactive effort, as we had a time before, to try to mitigate some of the flooding. Also, I noticed the paving on Conroe was completed. It's appreciation to our residents for putting up with a little bit of aggravation in order to get newly paved roads, something we've been talking about and doing for many years. I look forward to seeing Chester Avenue and some of the homes or some of the streets down by Baylor, which will be done as well. That's my report, sir.
Thank you, Councilman. And next up, we have Councilwoman Virginia Parejo. Councilwoman?
Yes, I want to congratulate our new Chief of Police, Jim Mitchell. We are very fortunate to have him. Also, thank you to our fire department for helping in Riverside Park after the storm. That's all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And next up, we have Vice President of Council, Mr. Vice President Tom Lyon.
Thank you, Council President. Also like to say congratulations to Chief Mitchell. Good guy. I've known him since I moved into town, and I think we're in capable hands with Chief Mitchell. I'm looking forward to Veterans Day and being at the Veterans Day service here. Hats off to all the vets. My father was a World War II Marine. My brother was a Marine, and no greater honor to serve the country. Also, like just the Carly Lloyd event, I was able to go there, and a good friend of mine that I worked with at UPS brought his teenage daughter, and watching the look on her face with all the speakers and whatnot, you could see she was really inspired by a lot of the messages and the positivity of that event, and I did think it was a great event. Lastly, bear with us on the Grand Boulevard project on that road, doing some traffic calming, curbing. It's not quite finished yet. We want to make sure there's striping and some things so it's safe for the kids to cross to that park, and hopefully it gets people to slow down on that road because they like to use that as a raceway sometimes. With that, that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Appreciate it. For my statement report tonight, I always echo my colleagues who always hit the nail on the head. Just want to take a minute and congratulate the chief and the department as a whole. Over the past few years, my term here on council, I worked very closely with the chief then when he was a lieutenant. Got to know him fairly well. He's a firm believer in working for the greater good, and that's his term for the community. But he doesn't just subscribe to that notion, he truly embodies it, and I think that's fantastic for the police department and this township. There's no question, especially today, it's challenging to run a police department. But you know, with his dedication, his leadership, and his vision, I know the department will continue to thrive. So we look forward on behalf of council to working with the new chief in his leadership. And with that, that concludes comments from the council. We'll now open the floor to public comment. So before we do public comment, before I do the open the floor with a motion, I'll just restate our rules of decorum so everybody's clear. If you wish to speak, I ask you please raise your hand. You'll be recognized. At that time, you may approach the microphone in the front, state your name and address for the record. If you could just use your outside voice, this isn't the best microphone in the world. All remarks should be addressed to council. An individual speaker will be allotted 5 minutes in the essence of time due to the number of people here. And as a note, all statements are part of the public record, both video recorded and written, and cannot be redacted or retracted after stated. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to open the floor to public comment.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries. We are now open to public comment. So if anyone's interested, please raise your hand and you'll be addressed. Mr. Gilbert?
Bob Gilbert, 75 Stewart Avenue, Delran. First of all, I want to thank the fire company for what you guys did on Stewart Avenue that day. Helped a lot. I appreciate it so much. I was informed that Mr. Wilson passed away. The mayor instructed Mrs. Mitchell to contact me, and instead we were playing a little bit of handball back and forth. I gave her the card directly from the service officer from the VFW, and she was in contact. And I think what you're going to do Thursday is going to be a good thing. I will be there. You're not going to have as many veterans as I had hoped. First of all, it is Veterans Day, and there are other things going on. We do ceremonies at the Beverly National Cemetery. We do others at General Doyle Cemetery in New Hanover. So, and it being kind of a short notice thing, it's kind of hard to rally some of the troops. But I will be there. The thing I want to express mostly, because you said this goes out, right? Okay. Any veteran, get a copy of your DD 214. It is gold. You need it for everything. You need it to buy a house. You need it when you pass away. Your spouse can get other benefits after you pass away. But you have to have that DD 214. It is a must. I have some stupid questions, though. This will be the stupid part. People want to know, because I live down that end, they want to know what's going to be done with the old burned down Milanese pizza place. Anything? We saw it completely tore down, but nobody knows what's going on.
My understanding is that the owners have applied to rebuild it. So that's as far as I know. The construction office has received information that they are looking to rebuild that, perhaps as a store with an apartment overhead as it was before.
Thank you. I was here when you guys went through the thing with the construction out front, and I was under the assumption, if I'm wrong, let me know, that it was going to be done at night. Well, the last Thursday, Friday, and today, the road is blocked because they're working during the daytime. Is there a reason for the change?
Yeah, it was the reason it was in front of council for this portion from here down to the highway was to do at night for safety concerns. The rest, there was still a plan to do the rest of that during the day. They had to come to council because we have to waive the noise regulations for that particular construction that you're talking about at night.
Okay, because I did not hear that part of it. So
it was in her presentation, but I can understand that it was missed. Yeah. I apologize.
I know you talked about the governor's award, and Mr. Jenny's going to take the lead on that.
We'd like to. We're just in concept phase. I'd like to talk to the mayor's office about it, and in a future meeting, Councilman Lynn Jennings, offered to help, push us over the line with that and help organize it, in conjunction with the administration's office. We got to work with them, but, we're still in the early stages.
Okay.
But we have, you weren't there at that meeting. I know you gave me a call, but our plan is to move forward with that. It was discussed at the work session. So it's on our,
Yeah, some days, when you have your meetings, I've just had physical therapy.
Totally understand.
And some days, the way they crank on the arm and the shoulder, I don't feel like really doing much of anything. So,
yeah, been there, done that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Goodman. Any other comments from the public? If you could please raise your hand. State your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, my name is Patrick Duff. I'm just going to pull this down a little bit because this mask is very difficult to talk through. Originally 812 Chester Avenue. It was 249 Chester Avenue when I first moved in. That tells you how long ago it was. Chester Avenue, that was a 200 block, 1 block from here. I started a little fire in the garage when I was like 10 years old and they couldn't find the house, so we changed it to 812 Chester Avenue. That's how long I've lived here in Delran. Know every inch of the street, walked up and down it hundreds of times, really care about this town, have family that still live here, right?
Just for the record, your name and address, please.
Patrick Duff. I'm a Haddon Heights resident. Rather not state the address because I've actually had threats.
That's fine. That's fine.
I've actually had threats, physical threats against me. Somebody told me they're going to shoot me if I didn't stay offline for trying to do an investigation into the finances of the Carly Lloyd event. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that a real nice thing? Called the Burlington County Sheriff. They're now investigating it, by the way. So people wonder why I'm doing this. Why are you investigating this town and looking into this town? First, let me tell you that 14 weeks ago, I found out I had cancer. For the last 4 years, I thought I had diverticulitis, but 14 weeks ago, I found I had cancer. Found out I had a perforation in it. It was leaking in my body. It was killing me. I was dying. I was about 2 months away from dying, being dead. This perforated tumor that was in my body was sitting there in my body, basically killing me for years, and nobody knew it because nobody looked. And that's what I'm doing is I'm taking a look at your finances to see where these go. If there's a tumor that needs to be removed from your town. And I can tell you that the tumor that was removed from me was 10 inches long 13 months ago, and I'm alive today because they did it. Thank God. I thank God every day that I can see my son. But I want to leave this world a better place for him in case I cannot make it past the next couple weeks. And the only way to do that is with honest representation for my son. So I chose to pick Delran just to look at a simple financial record of the Carly Lloyd event. It should have been a real easy thing. You should have sent me the financials. All the POs were already cut. Mayor, you said nothing illegal happened. I can tell you that I have proof that there's contracts that show that the video services and the stage services were split purposefully to avoid getting bids. That's illegal. I can show that your company, Center Stage Entertainment, actually solicited quotes from these companies, and that somebody from your company signed for Go events that was owned by one of your relatives and your coworker. That's not legal, sir. To say it's legal, could you explain me then why you didn't just hire Center Stage Entertainment to do all these events? And you had to go around and hire this Go Events company that you can't even figure out who they are because they're registered in Nevada. Took me a little while, but I found them. So let's just be honest here. The slow perforation of a cancerous tumor in my body was killing me. But the slow perforation of the finances in Delran are making it so the tax structure in this town are unbearable for the citizens. People on Stewart Ave, they didn't get checks to help them with the clean out of their basement. They got a firefighter showing up and their volunteers working their butts off to try to help people. But I can tell you this, that me looking into this is just another town that I've done. Done Point Pleasant Beach, done Philadelphia, done the police system in Philadelphia. Actually changed the 911 system after the 911 calls were made in Philadelphia to that Starbucks. They changed the 911 system because of research I did. So listen, I don't know if it's a one-time thing, Mayor, but you did hire somebody from your company. You did hire your family member. You're the head of the recreation committee. You're the one that signs off. There's no way you can say you didn't know. There's no way that Jeff Hatcher can say he didn't know that Go Events was being signed by Alex Glover, who's an employee of Center Stage Entertainment. That's on your financial disclosure. That's where you work. Man, listen, come clean. Be real. The citizens of your town are not asking that you step down. I'm not asking you to step down, but be real. You insulted me. You said I defamed people. You said I claimed there's coercion and bribery. I never did that. I never said nothing about Carly, bad about Carly. I never said nothing bad about the celebration. I simply asked questions in the finances, was given different answers, and then was put in a public forum and said that I did something that I didn't do. And as I said, 14 weeks ago. I had cancer extracted from my body. I was dying. I have stage 2 high-risk cancer. They want me to do 6 months of chemotherapy now. I could die in the next month. I don't want to leave the world worse for my son. So if the question is, why am I doing this? That's it. Please answer the question, why did you hire somebody that's your relative and somebody that you work with, which you know is not legal to do, to contract? And why did you avoid, Tyler, why did you avoid getting RFPs on bids that are greater than the $44,000 threshold that you know you have to get bids on? And I can prove that you did because I have contracts that show that both services are included. People in this town are sending me stuff left and right. So I have them already. So admit it. You bid split and you handed contracts to your friends. Thank you very much.
Mayor. Okay.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Duff.
With regards to the bid splitting, Sal was involved, Sal's our solicitor who was involved in the process and consulted throughout that. Sal, was that process up to your snuff? You just hit the red.
Sure,
Please,
yeah,
sorry.
absolutely. There's no bid splitting.
Thank you, Solicitor. With that, is there any other comments, questions from the public? Please raise your hand. Last call for comments and questions from the public. Going once, Mr. Bodnar.
I take this thing down? Okay, that's rough. Well, I got a couple of notes here. Oh, one thing I wanted to say is the speakers, whatever you've done, I think you said something about it, just like a different system. It's fabulous because we can actually hear what you say and we can actually hear what I'm saying here. So just duplicate it, like keep it. Okay, it's excellent.
Thank you.
Well, I've been here 30 years and here we go. It's finally working okay.
I'm sorry, just need your name and address. We
Jeff
frequent flyer,
Jeff
but
Bodnar, 116 Kathleen Avenue.
thank you, Mr. Bodnar.
And I'll tell you what, I went down Tenby Chase and I saw that thing, whatever you guys.
Chicane.
I know you talked about it before, and I thought, hey, it kind of sounds good. To me, it's terrible. You're pushing all the cars down into this little one lane. Why? I know there was a reason, so please enlighten me because I don't know.
Yeah, the long and short of it is those two areas were selected, Tenby Chase and the Grand Boulevard, because of their proximity. First of all, it's a very heavily traveled road, as you know, and there's a sports complex there. So I urge you to go there in the middle of a sports game when there's 4 games going on there, and it is extremely dangerous. So we've consulted with a bunch of experts on it, and the process is called a chicane, right? And effectively what it does, the problem with those roads is they're very wide, right? But they're really 2 single lanes of travel, right? In an effort to save money, they never stripe the lanes, right? You have your fog line and then the center line, right? So the chicane goes out to where the fog line would be. So effectively, the lane of travel is still the same. You can fit a tractor trailer through those two of them.
It just feels so small. I went by there, another car there. It felt to me like we were barely making it through there.
I can assure you, there's plenty of room, but that's the purpose of chicanes, is to make the road feel smaller, to slow people down. And listen,
how much did it cost?
I can get back to you on that. I have those numbers, but I just don't know.
Ballpark. Anybody remember?
I can get it to you. I don't have the number off the top of my head.
Send it to me. Fine. Okay. All right. Let me just go on to another one. I just kind of wanted to know.
Yeah. I mean, the plans are all online. There's a full statement about it. If you want to read that, that summarizes it better than my version.
Consider this. I've said it to you before, I think, but consider this: that you're able to actually. There's artists out there that can do paintings on the road that makes people think that they're falling off or there's bumps or whatever. It's worth a shot. Maybe it costs you $1,000 for them to go ahead and do something like that. See if it affects anything. It'd be like a fake bump that's there.
Yeah.
I mean, naturally, once we know, we're just going to go over it and
that's the problem.
But it's the ones that don't know. It'd be kind of fun to watch anyway. All right. I got a thing. 110 Diane Avenue. It's on Sweets Run. There's a trash trash dumpster that's out there on the street. It's been there for like 2 months. And it's on the street. I thought really that they're supposed to be in the driveway, but
They
this
are.
is a big one. And I mean,
You mean
like,
a
come
dumpster,
on.
or are you talking the single use
No,
one?
no, the big old dumpster.
dumpster, okay.
that
Jamie's
they-
got
that
the
they
address
throw in
down.
there, okay, so, I mean, if it's okay, fine. If not, geez, it's just
We'll
a
have someone
pain.
take a look.
Okay, the other thing is, like, thanks for letting me take this mask down, but I really wish you guys would get rid of the requirement on the mask. And the reason remember I told you before about you shaking hands and so on like that last time. Remember, people that are out here in the audience are sitting right next to each other. So the six-foot thing or the 3-foot, whatever it is these days, God, it would be so nice for you to just finally say, "Come on, let's end this. The COVID thing is kind of getting to the end. It's your call. I mean, I respect you and wore the mask that's on the it's on the building. And then I got one other thing. I live in Swedes Run. I can hear, when I first moved here, it was nice, but I can hear 1:30. It's a racetrack in the morning, like 6:30 in the morning. I'm hearing those cars go and the trucks go and everybody with the loud exhaust just zooming. Now, it would be really nice for us to just get some additional money, get the cops out there, get them to pull the cars over, generate some income for the town, and I think it would be really cool. Then maybe the cars would slow down a little bit, but who knows? But it's an opportunity to at least do something about the loud noises. And the other thing is tinted windows. It drives me crazy. New Jersey the New Jersey law is 0 tinted windows. You cannot have a tinted window. So there's no need for a cop to have any kind of measurement device. It's either 0 or anything more than 0 is illegal. Now, I know when you buy new cars, they throw some kind of tint on those front windows. I don't know. You got to do something with that. But I see more and more and more cars. I go to ShopRite and I sit down in a cafe when my wife goes and does the shopping, and I'm sitting there and I watch the cars go by. There's another one. There's another one. There's another one. But it just seems like there's getting more and more. It's unsafe for the cops. Okay, I wouldn't want to be able to pull up into a car and not know what's going on inside because of the tinted windows. So that's it. I think I'm done. Okay, thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
Mr. Butler. You got that out there. Please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, Tony Egan, 108 Charlie Lane. Question, the chicanes or whatever to call it, is there going to be anything more added on Tempe Chase
Yes.
besides what they built right near?
Yeah,
by
the
the fields?
full diagram's online. It includes striping. There's going to be striping and some, what's the name of it? The speed signs, that tell you how fast you're going and blink and things like that. There's a bunch of stuff going on there.
So nothing else jutting out in the road? Just,
All of those
just
chicanes,
striping?
yes, those chicanes and a bunch of parking, a bunch of fog line striping, center line striping, and then a few lights,
Okay, 'cause
different
it
signage,
seems like they
additional
went
signage.
overboard over at the Grand, but not as much in Tempe Chase.
Yeah, the issue with the Grand, for why there's more chicanes, right, is you'll find them at the intersections, right, and you're not supposed to park right at the intersection anyway. So
Right.
the chicane acts as a no parking buffer as well.
Right,
So it's
yeah,
dual
I
purpose. So that's why there's a little more intersections involved. So that's why there's more of them. But you would be correct. There is more at the Grand.
Okay. And another thing, getting back to the lawyer, you're saying that there's no bid splitting. You're saying, you're giving us a response, there's no bid splitting. Can you explain? No, I don't want to take your word for it. I need some explanation, please. And I'll sit down for this.
Well, what would you like me to answer? Give me a specific question. There was no bid splitting in the process.
That's all you got to say. There's no bid splitting.
That's a truthful statement.
You don't know. That's all you can say.
That's a truthful statement. What else would you like me to say? There was no bid splitting in the process.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Any other comments? We'll wait. Go ahead. whatever you're comfortable with.
Thank you. Pat Pomerantz, 21 Alden Avenue. I was reading, and I probably should have said something when you brought up the resolution of the ordinance for the trees.
Yes.
But I was reading and I said it, it went through.
Mhm.
I have a question.
Sure.
So basically, that says, I mean, it's a lot of pages, but basically it boils down to if I want to take a tree down in my yard, I have to get a permit?
Yes, you had to get a permit before, right, to do that.
Okay.
Did people do that? That's not up to me, but you had to get a permit before. Effectively, the purpose of this ordinance, I know it's long, and you admittedly, it's very long. Deb is in the room with us who helped write it, right? The purpose of this ordinance is that when the main thrust, right, is that if some developer comes and takes 10 acres of land and strips it of all the trees, that they have to pay to replace those trees because they're valuable to society. That's effectively what it does, the upshot of it. At a residential level, it's a little more complex in that you can effectively take down 5 trees a year plus exceptions. The good news is all the exceptions swallow up the number. So, you know, if it's too close to your house, if it's a dead tree, if it interferes with plumbing, if it interferes with electrical, I mean, you can, you know, the exception allows a resident to cut down what they need to cut down if it's an exception, right? So what that allows us, we have to be blanket across the board because we can't say developers are treated differently than residents, you know that. So that's the purpose, right? With protecting the open land or the land that we have left, trees are valuable in society for a host of reasons. We all know that, and that allows them to either plant those trees back on property or to pay us to plant them somewhere else in parks and in wherever we need in the township.
So this has gone into effect now. It doesn't affect Chester Avenue,
No, well,
Willowbrook, all this ground that's already been stripped of its trees.
yeah, that's unfortunately, if they come back to the planning board, I don't know what the stages are. We're not on planning or zoning, and it's a separate body. But if they come back, we're actually appointing, we're going to go out to RFP for a tree professional to sit on those boards and advise when they come in front. Anybody comes in front, right? And she can go out, he or she, whoever it may be, go out and help them, you know, make sure that the right trees are being put back. So in a perfect world, this should have been done years ago, but we're just picking up the pieces and trying to move forward in the right direction. So hopefully, if we ever have a situation like that again, that we're well prepared.
Well, let's hope not. I don't think
Yeah.
we can stand much more traffic. So I don't,
I agree.
you know, seriously,
I
don't
agree.
need another one. And then in regards to Riverside Park,
Mm-hmm.
this has been an issue for 20 plus years.
Well, let me just, I got an email it was actually an email at 6 o'clock from Jim Jim Winkowski, our engineer, that I can.
It was 6:07 if you're looking.
6:07 that they would like to meet with the township on December 2nd. So they'll meet with the mayor's office. This is the Army Corps of Engineers. We'll meet with the mayor's office. They have what they call a draft project management plan. I haven't seen it, so I don't want to, you know, promise anything that I haven't seen, but we're working with them. Jim has been on top of them. We're going to meet with them Thursday, December 2nd. Okay?
And that's got to be almost 20 years, 15 years. Because I was the
I believe it.
original person who contacted the U.S. Army the Army Corps of Engineers.
Well, we
I brought
appreciate
them
you making
into
that
this
call.
building.
Well, thank you for it.
Yeah.
We're glad we're there.
I just find it amazing with these trees, though, that, you know, it doesn't, all the other developments that we have. And I understand the park system and that nice trail, okay, that kind of goes from Amico Island to, I'm not sure exactly where. But they just took up more ground in Riverside Park.
Mm-hmm.
So now the rain doesn't go down into the river, the rain doesn't go down into the ground, and the rain goes more into Riverside Park.
Yeah, that's a county project. I know it
it's a
goes all
county
around
project.
through.
But, you know, we've been hearing down in Riverside Park, I've been there since 1988, and I'm sure it was way before me,
Mm-hmm.
that we're going to take care of it.
Listen, I can't speak to
I
what
know you
other
can't.
people did
I
when you
know.
brought it here 20 years ago. I thank you for doing that. I
But
wasn't
it's
here.
lip service. You know, hopefully this time something actually gets done.
They're meeting with us on December 2nd, and I'm glad that they're meeting with us. I mean, it's unfortunate, you know, a year in the Army Corps of Engineers is a day in our life. It's just the way it works in federal government. I'm not happy about it either, but I'm glad that they're moving forward and meeting us with December 2nd.
Is that open to the public or no?
I literally got the email at 6. I think it's just they want to meet with the engineer. I don't even think we'll be involved in this, maybe the mayor, but, and like I said, I don't know the scope of the plans yet. This is,
Okay.
but as soon as we know, we're gonna let let the public and everybody know. There's no it's been 20 years. There's no reason to wait we're not gonna hold on it any more than, when we get the go-ahead and we're ready to go, we're gonna go ahead,
Okay.
We're
Thank
not,
you.
okay, thank you very much. And all the way in the back, Mr. Gilbert, I just gotta. State your name and address.
Gallagher, 220 Sharrowville Road, Delran, New Jersey. I just have a question. If anybody knows why Black Barren Road was torn up
The mayor.
on both corners?
Sure. There were two intersections that we're fixing, that were in such bad shape that we're repairing the intersections at Black Barren and Sharrowvale and Southview. Those intersections, if you know Sharrowvale and Southview, looks like it's been a bomb site, and it's especially bad because there's a bus stop and there's kids playing there every morning while they're waiting for the bus. So the curbs were taken up. They're going to be reinstalling handicap ramps, and then they'll be doing the paving of the intersection to try to give those roads a little extra life before they have to be completely repaved.
Okay.
Just like we did it in front of your house and on Burning Tree. A couple of years ago, it gave the road a couple of extra years' life.
They only put the handicap walk down in front of my house.
Right, but they also paved the intersection. They fixed the intersection.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Any other public comment from the public? Can you make it quick?
You need my name again?
No. We're all good.
Just to reiterate, I'll get it out, whatever. What Mrs. Pat Pomeran said. I've been down there 28 years, down at Riverside Park. Flooding constantly. If you go look at that bank right now, it's 1/3 of what it was 28 years ago. People used to go down there and take their wedding pictures down there. You can't do that anymore. And we've heard the story before about the Corps of Army Engineers, the same offer that they're apparently with your engineer is the same offer that was offered back in 2012, and this township turned it down. Okay, because I got all the paperwork, and your engineer was here, and I threw out all of it, and he said, "You're right." That was back in 2012. This is 9 years later, still squat, nothing. And as the fire, they were there. They've been down to Stewart Avenue twice already this year because of the excess flooding. You're going to have your major problem because your sewer plant's going to end up in the water. Go behind it. Go behind the sewer plant. It's going to end up in the water, and this town's not going to have a sewer system. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Mr. Duff, we really only recognize people once. If you can.
You just recognized him twice.
I know. But let's keep
just
it going.
pointing that out for the record. I got to ask you, Tyler.
Sure, go ahead.
Did the township receive any quotes that were above $44,000 that included the TV, video services, along with the stage services?
Can you say that one more time, please?
Did the township receive any quotes that were above the $44,000 threshold that you would have had to seek an RFP for? Did the township receive any quotes, or the township's consultants receive any quotes that included all these services that were above $44,000, the video service and along with the stage service? And you got to answer this carefully, Tyler. Did the township receive any quotes?
I'm well aware of what you're trying to do. So let me.
I'm asking you an honest question.
If you'd give me an opportunity to answer, I'd be more than happy to. Thank you. So Sal was a part of the process the whole time. Sal is our solicitor. Everyone who was involved with the event consulted with Sal. The bid splitting you claim There is proposals earlier on that include from other vendors that are extremely high, right, as we were working on the event, as the RAC was working on the event.
Do you mind stating the vendors?
The vendors are all the ones that we have, Starlight, Spellcasters, there's a couple of them. I don't have all of them with me, but
So-
I know there's an open request for it.
But you do have quotes that are above the $44,000 threshold.
No, those
is that
are
correct?
proposals. Those are concept proposals. But let me explain what you're talking about at the bid threshold level, and Sal can put this in maybe layman's term. At the point where we made the decision, the resolutions, right, non-fair and open contracts, right, that we passed.
Two separate ones, correct?
Yes, there's two separate ones for that,
For
right?
the same event, correct?
Yeah, it's the same event. They're two different services. There was for the video service. If you would let me explain, I'd be able to do that. Thank you, Mr. Duff. So, for the video service, we attempted to get 3 quotes. Okay, there was a quote from, you have to bear with me, Katharina or something like that, something with a K. There was
Cathedral?
Cathedral. There was Waltronics.
By the way, Cathedral doesn't do video. I'm just letting you know that the quote was split from
Mr. Duff,
Spellcaster.
you're gonna have to sit down.
Yeah, my question is, did you receive quotes above the $44,000 threshold? Simple question. Yes or no? He's placating.
Mr. Duff, you please be seated. Thank you. And then I'll answer. I'm more than happy to answer the question. I'm more than happy to answer. Thank you, Sal.
Well, you've interrupted him 3 times. Could you allow, your question has been answered. It's been duly noted on the record. It's been filmed by video. Your friend is filming me right now. Allow the gentleman to answer your question. Are you capable of doing that?
It's a yes or no question, isn't
No,
it?
it's not. No, it's not.
So you're saying it's not a yes or no question. Did the
no.
township receive bids above 44,000? That's a
Duff,
yes or no question.
No, it's not, Mr. Duff. You're making.
Okay, thank you. I
you're
have the
making
bids, by the way.
You are making factual assumptions which are incorrect. Mr. Tyler has attempted to answer your question. It's not to your satisfaction because it doesn't fit your
So real
narrative.
quick, there were original bids above 44,000. That the same company literally split the bid, isn't
No,
that
Mr.
correct?
Duff. No, sir. No one has made that statement. You made that statement because it fits your narrative.
I have proof.
No one makes that. No one has made that statement. Thank you,
All right.
Mr. Burrell.
I'll
would
finish
say,
my statement and then we'll move on.
Yeah, you can move.
Solicitor, thank you very
Thank
much.
you, sir.
There was, so for the video, we attempted to get 3 quotes, right? There's 3 quotes got. One company could not meet the specs and sent a letter that meets the standards of the law, as advised by the solicitor. Then with respect to the stage/sound, there was 3 quotes attempted to be get for that. We went with the lowest, most responsible bidder in conjunction with Sal's counsel, non-fair and open contract, and then we met the ELEC requirement to disclose if there was any political contributions. That is the extent of how we got to that, the contract in question.
So, but there was contracts above that amount, correct?
No,
Yeah.
sir. No.
There was
one
no
has
quotes
made
above that amount.
Sir, no one has made that statement. You are making. Your
I-
question is assuming a fact which
Let-
is not true.
So Sal, I'm just asking a
My name
simple
is not
yes or no
Sal.
question.
Sir, my name is Mr.
Mr.
Siciliano. You'll address me as such because I'm the township solicitor. We're not on
I
a
appreciate
first
that.
name basis. I don't address you as Patrick, and I'm going to address you as Mr. Duff.
I really
Will you address me
appreciate
as
I really
Mr.
appreciate the
Siciliano
attitude, but
or
I'm
sir?
asking for a question.
No,
You're
sir.
a public representative.
Yes, I
You owe
am.
the public an answer.
Yes, sir, I am.
So
I'm
don't talk to me like you got an attitude.
I do have.
Okay?
You can be quiet, sir.
You're a public representative, buddy.
Yes, I am.
You answer the question.
Your question is.
Did you receive a quote that's above $44,000 for the services? Is the question.
Your
Yes or
question-
no?
There's
All right,
not a yes or no.
Thank you very much.
It's not a yes or no
Thank you.
question. Not a yes or no question.
Any other statements, public comments? Last call. Mr. Bodnar, can you please make it quick?
I'm sorry, the only reason I'm doing this is because from what I've just heard here. Everybody hear me out there?
Yes.
Okay, that must be better. Look, my question is what are the rules of council? I'm assuming what he's saying is that the mayor is associated with the $39,000 company and the $6,500 or whatever it was for the thing. Is council allowed to give contracts to people on council, including the mayor? I mean, is it okay?
No, Mr. Bob.
Can't hear.
The New Jersey local public contract laws, any public official is not permitted to have a direct financial benefit. That's defined by that individual, members of their household, and immediate family members. And that has not happened in this case at all. So to answer your question, remember, no, they are not allowed to do that, and that has not happened in this case.
That's all I wanted to know. Okay, so
Simple question.
as you're going through, as we're hearing all this, and I guess you're going to keep hearing this from Patrick all the time, maybe you want to get somebody involved to just look it over and say, is this okay or not? Did we do okay or not? Get Trenton involved or whatever. That's my suggestion. Okay.
Thank you.
And I think something like that, like Tyler, if I was you, that's what I would do. Okay. And just because you need to know. Okay, get somebody on the outside to at least look over whatever was done, and let them say okay. Because you don't need to go back and forth with what this number was, what that number was, and so on. Let somebody independent just come in and do a quick perusal of what's what. Because in the end, if the mayor is associated then with these companies, then that was wrong and shouldn't have been done. And then maybe you got to start thinking, well, maybe it was split to stay underneath that threshold. I'm not going to get into that anymore, but that's my 2 cents, okay?
Thank you.
Good luck to you all.
Thank you, sir.
Barb Littleton, 317 Delran. 317 Chestnut Street.
Can you state your name and address for the record one more time?
Barbara Littleton, 317 Chestnut Street in Delran.
Thanks.
So, if I hear you correctly, you did not get any bids. Did you get any proposals that included both before the Carly Lloyd event? So proposals for the stage and everything together.
For Carly Lloyd event?
Yes.
There was a bunch of quotes, proposals, back and forth as the RAC was working on the event to figure out what was in budget and what equipment was needed. There was quotes early on that had way too much to offer, 4 or 5, 6 screens when this was a concept. So there is stuff before. That's correct.
Okay. And can I get a rationale why we split it? And I know you're saying you didn't split it, and it could be completely honest and within the law that we split it for purposes for we were getting a cheaper bid for this from this company and a more expensive bid for this. But what's the rationale there?
We complied with the law. I mean, we got 3 quotes for everything. I mean,
possible.
Under the connotation of bid splitting is a negative connotation. There was no bid splitting.
Well, and I don't mean to bring a negative light to it. I'm just trying to get information.
The bottom line here is it was in consultation with the solicitor Sal.
Right.
There's the bid threshold, and then if there's the non-fair and open contract, right? Everything was done with our solicitor's office to ensure that it complied with the law. These are lengthy laws, right? He's an expert in this. That's why we rely on him. I don't know every nuance of the law, neither does counsel here.
But
I mean, that's why we rely on the solicitor's office and the administration to make sure that we are complying with the bid law, the non-fair and open contract law, and all the appropriate requirements therein. Okay?
But so why didn't we do it all together? I guess is my question. Why didn't we put the bid out for all of it all together?
There was no bid put out. This was quoted under the bid threshold.
Because of how you did it, there was no bid. But why didn't we put a bid out? I guess what I'm saying.
Yeah, Ms. Littleton, I mean, Ms. Littleton, so again, there was no bid splitting. The reason that you sometimes receive information like this, if you have different companies providing different services, if the companies are headquartered in different states, they have different tax ID numbers or different vendor numbers, that's why you would see different amounts. There's different bid thresholds under the state statute, and depending on whether or not There's a qualified purchasing agent, which Delran Township does have a qualified purchasing agent, so there's variable bid thresholds with regard to those. But the only reason you would do that is if you have different companies providing different services, those companies have different tax ID numbers or different vendors or things like that.
So you're telling me none of those vendors that provided the services separately could have done it all together?
Oh, I have no idea. I have no idea whether they could have or not. I have no idea.
I think that's where we're coming from.
Yeah, no,
At
but
least
I,
me personally.
sure, no, I
That's where
understand, and that's a speculation. I don't answer speculation, rumors, innuendos,
But
hearsay. I mean,
as a council, I would have thought you're spending my tax dollars.
mhm.
I would have thought that you would have looked into that and said, hey, is there someone that can do all three of these things or two of these things all together?
And I think,
if there were, and it was over, their proposal was over
Right.
our threshold, then we should have gotten the bid process then.
Fair,
And I
fair,
think that's
no,
my personal.
absolutely a fair question, but economies of scale don't always happen, and sometimes there's different costs, because if that does happen in certain instances, there's certain built-in add-ons that aren't necessarily true if you get the bid separately. So that's a fair question.
And then
It's an
my
absolutely fair
last
question.
question is for the mayor. Do you have any relationship to the Go events through another company within this? Do you personally, or your wife, or business associate, anyone, have personal dealings with the company that they went with?
I am not in any way financially involved with that company.
And that's not gonna be proven different.
No, Center Stage is a
So-
company that's listed
your
and
wife-
listed on my financial.
Your wife is not listed as a
No.
contact person for
No.
Center Stage?
If you're referring to my deceased sister-in-law, Donna, who died a year ago, no.
Okay.
She's not
I'm
my
just
wife.
asking the question.
Fortunately, my wife is alive and well. Thank you.
Okay. Sister-in-law, any family member. I'm not speaking just about your
But I
wife.
don't work, I'm not an employee of that company. I am not a stakeholder in that company or any of these companies.
And none of your family members or associates, business partners are part of that.
I don't have business partners with that.
I don't know. I don't know your personal stuff.
I'm-
Okay, that's all the questions I have.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. I
Thank you.
really appreciate it.
you being respectful. Thank you very much.
My name is Scott Duco. I'm from 3 Glen Forest Road in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, and I'm very concerned about what's going on here. And I would like to know if Mr. Cantrombone is related to a Frank Cantrombone from Go Events.
You have the mayor.
Yes, it's my nephew.
So your nephew from Go Events, same address as Center Stage Entertainment, are connected.
When he was incorporating, I understand that from Mr. Duff's information.
So you understand
I have
that
no
from
connection
Mr. Duff's information.
I have
So
no
that-
connection with it.
So that's not a conflict of interest in the process of obtaining the bids and, no?
I'll ask the attorney.
No, there's no financial benefit.
There's no financial benefit.
There's no financial
Absolutely not.
benefit to Mayor Katchenbone. There's no financial benefit.
No financial benefit.
There's no financial benefit.
On the record, we're saying there's no financial
So
benefit
do
to
you have
the
any
Cantrobone
documents that can
family.
prove that the mayor benefited financially in any way? If
I
if
will,
you-
re-
if
I will
you
leave
do,
my,
I'd like-
I will leave my comment at that. Thank you,
No, if you,
counsel.
sir, if you do, I'm happy to see them. I'd call the Burlington County prosecutors myself or the Attorney General's office. If you have any documents, provide them to me. If the
Thank
mayor
you, sir.
received any kind of direct financial benefit, please.
Thank you,
do that.
sir.
Listen, I want to make clear for everybody in the room, because there's a lot of speculation going on, right? I want to be clear. If there's any evidence of anything that's criminally wrong or ethically wrong, right? Council and anyone in this building should never be acceptable. I'm going to be clear about that, right? So if you have that information, as Sal mentioned, you should report it to the appropriate authorities, okay? But speculation, I can't live off of speculation. Nobody can, all right? But I want to be clear. We all here represent this township. We all deeply care about this township, every one of us up here, right? And I tell you, we were always going to protect the residents of Delran. We do this for the residents, okay? So if there is any allegations that you have anything that is concerning, I urge you to please contact the appropriate authorities, okay? We will, and that, please, I'm urging you to do that if that's what you have. I am not going to sit here and allow allegations that we can't police that type of stuff. If you have it, please send it to the appropriate agency, and I'll wholeheartedly support you in that effort, right? I'm not here to silence any of those allegations. Please give it to somebody, the appropriate agency that would handle that thing, and we're always going to do what we can to protect the residents. So I'm not going to go. If you've already spoken, your time has expired, but the miss here in the red.
Hi, my name's Nicole Vandermark, and I live at 879 Lichtenthal Street. And I'm not sure of your name, so do not yell at me, please. But the gentleman on the end.
Ma'am, I don't
I'm
yell
like
at,
trying to listen to the
no, that's
microphone.
okay. I don't yell at anyone. As the mayor stated earlier, he asked me to use an outside voice. So my last name is Siciliano. I'm the township solicitor.
Okay. So my question to you is, earlier, did you not say that hiring a relative was illegal?
No, I never made that statement. I never said that.
Did somebody make that here, or did I hear something?
I think Mr. Duff made that statement in his self-serving question. I never made that statement.
So it is legal to hire a relative? It's not?
In certain circumstances, the test is fine. No.
Careful.
No. I'm very careful, ma'am. Okay.
Me too.
The test, the statutory analysis is financial benefit. If there's a financial benefit, that's illegal. If there's no financial benefit, it's not illegal.
Okay. So he can hire relatives?
If there's no financial benefit.
Okay. I was just confused because I thought somebody said that you couldn't hire relatives, and then he said he was his nephew. And I was confused because I have a nephew and I think he's my relative. So I was a little confused by what was happening. My brother-in-law is my relative.
No. Understood. Yeah, the statute talks about a direct financial benefit to an elected official or those in their household.
Okay. Mayor, are you not a DJ?
I am, thank you.
You are, right?
Yes.
With who?
Excuse me?
With who?
With who?
Company.
Its company's called Gary Catrambone Entertainment, LLC.
Okay. So everything that Mr. Duff has put on Facebook, all of the paperwork, all of everything that's been signed, all of the questions that have been put on the table, why hasn't anybody addressed them? Why haven't we heard from you as our mayor?
Well, I think.
I mean, are we to assume that he's lying? Are we to assume that they're all fraudulent?
If you follow any of the
I have followed all of it.
You follow all of it. So if I were to respond to every question or every accusation, why are they doing that? This is my tax dollars. The reality is that we all pay the same taxes. And as a resident of over 40 years, I do the same thing. This is something that if you spread enough stuff throughout your information, incorrect or not, it starts to look like, to the people who don't know the truth, that's what's happening. I understand there is so much misinformation being distributed, it would be impossible for me to correct it.
I do. I understand that. I do. But sometimes silence is worse.
Violence?
Nothing has been said.
She said
I mean,
silence.
silence.
Whoa.
Silence is worse. Did you think I said violence? Oh, geez.
I thought you said violence. I'm sorry.
This is really getting crazy in here today.
Wow.
No, silence. I mean, nothing has been said. You're angry. You're mad.
Look, I'm smiling.
This one. Yeah, you're angry. And I get it. I get it. You guys are being attacked. You don't like it. But look at it from our side. You have to look at it from the resident side. We're seeing all of this stuff. We're reading all of these papers, and they look legal. Mm-hmm. They look legit. You're being questioned, and you're not really given straight answers. So I don't know what you think the residents are supposed to do. Are we just supposed to be quiet? Are we not supposed to ask questions? I mean, you want us to go to Trenton. Do you really?
Yeah.
Respectfully. listen, I appreciate the work that has been done, the effort to be involved. That's why I ran for office. That's why I ran for office, because I care deeply about this community. I wholeheartedly say that from the bottom of my heart, right? And if there's something that was done wrong, right, then it needs to be reported to the appropriate authorities. Why would I hide that? I have no reason to hide that. Your questions about the mayor, I don't have the answers to that. I'm not a catch from bone, okay? I'm sorry, I can't provide answers to that. I hope you understand that.
I do
okay?
understand
So,
that, and I do appreciate
and
that.
I'm not going to just make things up on the record, to do that. So I can't provide those answers. It's up to the residents to decide if those answers are satisfactory. That's, you can reach out to the mayor. But listen, if you have anything that's concerning, please report it. There's no reason to hide it, any of it.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Any other public comments? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to close the floor. And a second.
I'll second.
Was there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. The floor is now closed. With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Have a good night.